Last summer, the remnants of Hurricane Debby hit parts of the North Country hard. The rains caused thousands to lose power, and flooding washed out roads and damaged homes. Getting our infrastructure more equipped to handle more intense storms like that is going to take a lot of investment. Big things like municipal stormwater systems need to be updated. But local residents can also make a difference on a smaller scale. At a demonstration garden in Canton, local leaders are teaching people how to make their homes more resilient to stormwater. We visit that garden on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hi, I'm Kara Chapman, and for David Summerstein, it's Monday, August 11th. Up first, if you're driving between Keene and Lake Placid in the next 4 weeks, you should expect some delays. A state road crew is resurfacing 2 sections of Route 73 from now until September 5th. That work includes the 4-mile stretch of road through Cascade Pass, as well as a 5-mile section between Mount Van Hovenberg and the Lake Placid Airport. There will be a construction crew and traffic flaggers working weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Drivers and cyclists should expect delays in that area for about the next month. An invasive insect species that kills hemlock and spruce trees has been detected in northern New York. As WWNY-TV reports, the hemlock woolly adelgid was found on private property in Essex County this summer. The tiny aphid-like insect was detected in Port Douglas, which is located just east of Keysville and on the shores of Lake Champlain. The Adirondacks have the highest number of hemlocks in New York State. Hemlock woolly adelgid is a danger because it sucks sap from hemlock and spruce trees, which can kill them within 10 years. There are chemical treatments to kill the invasive aphid. The DEC is actively searching for more infestation. In the middle of summer, when the days are often hot and muggy, a good place to cool off can be priceless. Our former Adirondack reporter Brian Mann, who's now with NPR, went searching for the perfect swimming hole in the eastern Adirondacks near Scroon Lake. He produced this audio postcard.
It is a radiant summer morning, and I'm setting off into what's called the Hoffman Notch Wilderness. Searching for swimming holes is a hobby, and I have just this collection of places I love to go, and I've never really explored this valley.
It's not a steep climb. This trail north of Albany doesn't lead to summits or big mountain views. The goal today is cold water and deep pools. As I hike, there are birds everywhere. They dip and flash under the tree canopy. I pause at the edge of a pine forest to listen. The day is already hot. I hike on and come to the first log bridge that takes me across Hoffman Notch Brook. Impossibly clear water folds through the trees, catching sunlight. I chose this trail because of the brook. On the map, it looks promising for places to swim, but it's not deep enough here, so I keep going. Another thing that's drawn me here, this place isn't Instagram famous. On this day, there's no one else here. The only chatter is a frog hiding under one of the footbridges.
I'm walking in a place where the forest opens up and there is just this ocean of ferns. I'm wading through knee and waist deep ferns on all sides.
One thing that makes a wild swimming hole really special is solitude. I like to pretend I'm really exploring, finding places in the forest no one has ever seen before.
To get deeper into this wildness, I've actually left the trail now, and I'm following the bed of this really stony, rocky river. This is kind of my way of not getting lost, is using this as my path.
Soon the brook gathers into deeper pools, sun and golden water, trapped by smooth boulders. I hop from stone to stone until I find a sweet little bowl of rock stirred by a waterfall. I strip off my sweaty shirt and wade in. The water is so cold, I feel really awake for the first time in days. I swim in this secret place until I'm shivering. Then I stretch out on a stone ledge in the sunlight, grateful for the summer heat. Brian Mann, NPR News in New York's Adirondack Mountains.
Parts of St. Lawrence County were inundated with heavy rains from the vestiges of Hurricane Debbie last summer. It flooded homes, washed out roads, and left hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. The North Country can expect more severe flooding because the warming climate is fueling more intense storms. In Canton, many residents are concerned that the village's drainage system is too outdated to handle those bigger storms. So, while the town tries to fix up its infrastructure, local leaders have created a demonstration project to show how people can prevent flooding in their own homes. News intern Noah Donnellan-Doser reports.
In a vacant lot on Canton's Main Street sit 6 wooden frame garden beds and 2 massive piles of soil and wood chips. Kathy Schrady is scooping the soil from a packed wheelbarrow onto the beds.
They're spreading the compost on these raised beds. We have 6 raised beds that already have dirt in them. So people are dumping compost on there and other people are spreading it out.
Schrady is the chair of the Canton Sustainability Committee. They're building a demonstration garden. They want to educate people on how to prepare for stormwater flooding and make their yards more environmentally friendly. Barbara Beekman, a village trustee, says the beds will be filled with native wildflowers that attract pollinators.
If you like food, you should like pollinators because we get crops because they get pollinated. Bees, butterflies.
Pollinator numbers are falling worldwide, largely due to development and the use of pesticides. So, it's important to cultivate spaces that encourage pollinator growth.
You know, the more pavement, the more non-nurturing landscape there is, the less pollinators there are.
Around her are volunteers from St. Lawrence University's Center for the Environment, the Canton Middle School, and the Village Board. They're shoveling the soil and pulling up roots.
Pretty good.
Near the Main Street sidewalk, volunteers are lifting rocks the size of volleyballs and strategically layering them along a shallow ditch. The Center for the Environment's executive director, Diane Husick, says they're creating what's called a swale.
This building that's next to us doesn't have any gutters, and there's a low point, so all the water ran, and it would sit at the base of the foundation. This ditch that they dug will basically direct the water away from the building and then go into a deep area there.
She's pointing to the end of the ditch where water will collect. An elevated bank called a berm is already built up to help manage water flow. Schrady says the lot would have been more prone to flooding without the garden in place, and it likely would have damaged the police station and town hall next door.
You know, it could have been paved over to make more parking spaces, but that's about the worst thing you can do if you're trying to deal with rainwater because, you know, paving just makes the water run off.
Last summer's heavy flooding here in Canton and down the road in Potsdam have increased the urgency of building resilience to more intense storms fueled by climate change. Governor Kathy Hochul recently announced a statewide infrastructure grant to help municipalities reduce stormwater flooding, of which Canton received $500,000. Schrady says their goal for the garden is to show people how to bring these solutions into their own homes and bring some beauty to downtown Canton.
It's a simple thing that homeowners can do that's, you know, pretty easy to do, doesn't cost a lot, to help manage stormwater.
On the other side of the swale is a rough patch of dirt ready to be filled with low-maintenance alternatives to grass. Husick says they require much less water than grass.
For ecology, so we're going to put in microclover, which is good for soil and brings nitrogen into soil, but it's also a good pollinator plant. And then we're going to put in little bluestem, which is a perennial prairie grass, warm season grass that has really deep roots, so it helps with erosion.
Village trustee Barbara Beekman says the garden is a great way to showcase downtown Canton and teach them ways to foster a more sustainable home.
It's not a perfect fix, but we're hoping to combine some education with some beauty.
It's unclear how long this demonstration garden will be here. The town plans to build a new municipal building in its place, but the project is still in its early stages. For North Country Public Radio, this is Noah Donnellan-Doser in Canton.
News intern Nora Kenyon also contributed to this story. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Bill Stokes of Beekmantown. I'm Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.